Welcome to Southern Ohio. I got a chauffeur today. This is my brother Jim. It's my nephew Colton. We're going to do a small town downtown video near where I grew up, where they still live. You might have seen a video I did last year about Russellville, Ohio. And that's where they live and where I'm staying for the holidays. We're actually filming this on Christmas Day, even though it's, released after that. So that's why it might seem less busy in the towns than normal. But we're going to visit, actually, instead of 10 that I normally do on this video, we're going to do 12. And these are 12 incorporated towns around Russellville. 3 counties, I think. And I think I played basketball at every one of these towns in one of the little schools at some point. So it'll be interesting. We're going to all keep track of our lists at the end and rank them. So you do the same, and we'll see if we all agree or disagree. We're going to try to not be biased, even though we might know people that live in these towns. And especially the first town, we're going to the county seat of Brown County, which is Georgetown, which was our rival school growing up. So we won't hold that against them. And but we'll check out Georgetown, and then we'll keep traveling around the area. So it's around 5,000 or less people. They're all incorporated towns, so no ghost towns or anything like that, or unincorporated communities. So let's head to Georgetown.
Starting in Georgetown, Ohio, this is the county seat of Brown County. It was settled in 1819, took its name from Georgetown, Kentucky. Quickly became the county seat of Brown County in 1821. That's when the post office was opened as well. By the way, Brown County was named after General Jacob Brown, who was an officer in the War of 1812. Georgetown was incorporated in 1832. In 1863, Morgan's Raiders briefly occupied the square during a local raid in the Civil War. 1886, the Cincinnati-Georgetown-Portsmouth Railroad was established. By 1978, Georgetown Square here in the courthouse area, with 42 historic buildings, was placed on the National Register of Historic Places. President Ulysses S. Grant spent his childhood here from 1823 to 1839. His father, Jesse, was the Georgetown mayor from 1837 to 1839, built a tannery and family home on Grant Avenue. Looking at the population, is fairly small there in the early days, and then hit over 1,000 in 1870 and just has steadily grown, being the county seat. Definitely has been the center of Brown County's population, and now is at its largest it's ever been at 4,453. So there's Main Street. So right down the hill, this is Ulysses S. Grant's boyhood home. Thought I would just take a little detour from the main street. Over to Hamersville, still in Brown County. Post office started here in 1832. Town was laid out in 1838. Was named for Thomas Hamer, then a congressman and later a general in the Mexican-American War. Village began as a small farming community, serving as a stop for travelers and traders moving through the fertile lands of southern Ohio. It was also on the Cincinnati, Georgetown, and Portsmouth Railroad line. Population peaked in 1980 at 688, has started to drop off ever since, down to 485. That's the smallest it's been since 1950. Not a lot of older historic buildings in the area, just a nice, quiet, small town. this is Mount Orab, still in Brown County. Was named after the biblical name of Mount Horeb with an H in the Bible. It was originally part of Claremont County and actually was spelled O-R-E-B, Mount Orab originally. Before any lots were laid out, there was a small store on the southwest corner of Broadway and High Street, and the village was laid out in 1850. There were 19 lots at the beginning of the town. Post office started in 1854. Growth was slow until the Cincinnati Eastern Railroad reached town in 1877. That same year, 31 more lots were added. By 1880, it became incorporated. In 1929, radio station WHBD went on the air from the rear of Doc Muller's garage and general store on East Main Street. At that time, Mount Orab was the smallest town in the United States with a radio station. Population has really exploded in recent decades. As you can see, it was pretty small all the way through 1950. That's because Route 32 comes straight from the Cincinnati area right to Mount Orab, and so people have started moving east and have found Mount Orab to their liking. Population's at its highest it's ever been at 4,347. One more town here in Brown County before we come back later in the video. This is Sardinia. It was laid out in 1833 and the post office started in 1837. The village's name is derived from the island in the Mediterranean Sea. Had strong abolitionist ties, serving as a stop on the Underground Railroad. Was also a station on the Cincinnati Eastern Railroad. Sardinia became an important local hub, connecting surrounding farms to larger markets. You can see the population of Sardinia has continued to go up, reaching its highest point it's ever been in 2020 at 1,083. It's on that same Route 32 as Mount Orab, so if people want to go just a little further east, they'll stop here in Sardinia. This is Mowrystown in Highland County. It was established in 1809 and named after the Mowrys family, who were among the town's first settlers and played a large role in the development of the town. William Mowrys built a tavern and became the town's first postmaster in 1832. The Norfolk Southern Branch line connected Mowrystown to the county seat of Hillsborough, as well as to our most recent town there, Sardinia. So looking at the population figures, it's been pretty steady really since 1910. Hasn't gone up or down too much. It did peak in 1980 at 475. Now it's down to 385. Now we're over to Adams County, and this is Winchester. Winchester was laid out in 1815 by Joseph Darlington. It was named for his former hometown of Winchester, Virginia. Post office started in 1819, incorporated in 1864, later became the eastern terminus of the Cincinnati Eastern Railway. There's also an historic site here in Winchester, Dr. A.C. Lewis House, built in the 1840s. He's considered the first resident physician of Winchester and known as an abolitionist, and used the house as a station on the Underground Railroad. Population has been pretty steady since 1910. It was at 927 back then, and now it's 987. Did go up to over 1,000 for a few decades, but it's been pretty steady. Fun fact, I grew up on a farm not too far from Winchester, so our address my entire life growing up was Winchester, Ohio. This is the town of Seaman, as we will continue through Adams County for a few towns. It was laid out in 1887 when the Cincinnati Eastern Railroad was extended to this point. Named after Franklin Seaman, who donated land to the railroad for a station. The post office was started in 1897, incorporated in 1911. It was home of the hot air balloonist Will Rogers, nicknamed the Black King of the Air, who was the only black hot air balloonist in the United States in the 1890s. You can see that population, kind of like some of the other towns, has maintained a pretty decent level. Was over 1,000 for a few decades and is now at 973. This is Peebles, Ohio, as we stay along Route 32. This is our last town on Route 32 before we head south. But Peebles was platted in 1881 by Isaiah Custer at the junction of the Frontier Road Zane's Trace and the Cincinnati and Eastern Railway. Post office started in 1882, was incorporated in 1886, was named after businessman John Peebles from Portsmouth, Ohio. David Nixon constructed the first house in town, operated for many years as the Nixon Hotel. It's also located near Serpent Mound, a massive earthwork built by prehistoric Native Americans. Interesting in the population that it's pretty much grown throughout the entire life of the town, has leveled off since 1980, but pretty much in the last 50 years it's been in the 1,700 range. Now over to the county seat of Adams County, West Union. And by the way, Adams County was named after President John Adams. West Union was laid out in 1803 and became the county seat of Adams County that same year. It was incorporated in 1859. The Union part of the town's name speaks to the unity of local settlements, while West placed it in the geographical region of the Northwest Territory. The town developed near early frontier routes, including Zane's Trace that was mentioned earlier. The town was also a site for Underground Railroad activity. See, it was pretty small, even though it was the county seat. It only had a few hundred people through the 1800s and then started to gradually get larger. And in the last 40 or 50 years, it's really grown to over 3,000 people. We've now made it down along the Ohio River to Manchester. This is our final town in Adams County. The community was originally founded in 1790 as Massey's Station for Nathaniel Massey, an explorer and entrepreneur who first surveyed the Virginia Military District. This was the first permanent settlement in the entire district. In 1791, Massey's Station became known as Manchester after Manchester, England, which was Massey's ancestral home. It was just the fourth permanent settlement established in the entire Northwest Territory. By 1791, residents had completely encircled the community with a stockade. Post office was opened in 1800, and Manchester was incorporated as a village in 1850. Fun fact, if you're a NASCAR fan, Jack Roush, founder of Roush Fenway Racing, he is from Manchester. Population grew pretty quickly. By 1880, it was over 1,000 up to 1,400, kept going over 2,000, started to go down a little bit, dropped off quite a bit in the last census down to 1,839. We're now back in Brown County where we started. This is Aberdeen. Aberdeen was founded by James Edwards in 1795 and platted by Nathan Ellis in 1816. It was also part of the Frontier Road Zane's Trace that was completed in 1797. It was the first continuous road through Ohio. It was a key river crossing point by ferry and eventually became connected to Maysville, Kentucky, on the other side of the river, by two different bridges. It was named after the city of Aberdeen in Scotland. Very small in its early days, but quickly rose to 800 people by the 1850s. Didn't reach 1,000 until 1970 and has maintained a pretty good population of 1,515. now over to our final town of the day. This is Ripley, located in Brown County. Colonel James Pogue, a veteran of the American Revolution, arrived in the free state of Ohio from Virginia in 1804 to claim the 1,000 acres he had been granted in what was called the Virginia Military District. Pogue was among a large group of veterans who received land grants in what was first organized as the Northwest Territory north of the Ohio River for their service in the American Revolutionary War, and freed the people that they had enslaved when they settled there. Pogue and his family laid out the town of Staunton in 1812, and then it was renamed in 1816 to honor General Eleazar Wheelock Ripley, an American officer of the War of 1812. Given its location on the river, Ripley became a destination for slaves escaping from slavery in Kentucky on the other side. Both black and white residents developed a network, making Ripley a significant stop on the Underground Railroad. A number of prominent abolitionists lived in the town in the 19th century, mainly on Front Street near the river. John Rankin moved from Kentucky to Ripley in 1822 and later built a house on Liberty Hill overlooking the town. From there, he signaled escaping slaves with a lantern on a flagpole and provided them shelter. The house is now known as the John Rankin House and has been designated as a National Historic Landmark. A couple other well-known people from Ripley. Stephen Newman was the first man to walk solo around the world. He was from Ripley. Colonel Charles Young was the first black man to achieve the rank of colonel in the United States Army. Population grew pretty quickly there around the Civil War. You can see 1860, it reached 2,700 people, and that's about the biggest it's ever been. It went down and then went back up again in 1970 and has started to come back down to 1,591. We can see these really nice houses along the river here on the right. Really cool downtown to visit. So we have finished our 12 towns. Pretty cool grouping of towns. We're here on the Ohio River. Obviously, Ripley was the last town, and we're going to reveal our top 5. So I'll start with Colton. What was your top 5?
All right, my top 5, I put it in my notepad here. I got Georgetown as number 1, West Union as number 2, Ripley as 3, Manchester as 4, and Mowrystown as number 5.
Interesting list. Different than my list. All right, I'm curious. Brother Jim, what's your list?
Ripley number 1, Georgetown number 2, Manchester number 3, West Union number 4, and Mowrystown 5.
All right. Well, we agreed on the top 2. I went Ripley and Georgetown. I go West Union 3. I go Manchester 4, and I go Peebles number 5. Mixing it up. You guys like Mowrystown. I like Peebles. Yep. So, but yeah, it's kind of fun little trip. This is all around where we grew up, so interesting to kind of look at them from a different perspective, learn about some of the history, see some of the old towns, a lot of history that you take for granted when you grow up here. Yep. And so yeah, hope you enjoyed Southern Ohio. Hey, thanks for making it all the way to the end of that video. And since you're here, let me tell you a little bit more about the extras on the channel. One of the first things you can do is become a member. There are 3 levels of support. There's supporter, producer, and executive producer levels.
All three have different levels of fun incentives and perks. If you haven't done so, please check out travelwiththewiseguy.com. There are lots of extras on there to explore. One of them is merchandise. We have Travel with the Wise Guy coffee mugs, Death Go Round t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and all sorts of fun things to show your support of this channel. Also on the website is a custom Google map. I've dropped pins in every place I've visited and linked the episode to each location. This seems to be a very popular feature for many of you. Also, sign up for my free newsletter that goes out about once a month. There are all sorts of links and tidbits on this page, old videos, podcasts, and just about everything I can think of I throw on the website. Get all that information on travelwiththewiseguy.com. 1, 2, 3.